This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, the War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. Former President Donald Trump has been ordered to pay $5 million to writer E. Jean Carroll after a jury found him liable for sexually abusing and defaming her. The jury in the civil trial reached its verdict after just 3 hours of deliberations. The jury, however, did not find that Trump raped Carroll. In a statement, E. Jean Carroll said, "I filed this lawsuit against Donald Trump to clear my name and to get my life back. Today, the world finally knows the truth. This victory is not just for me, but for every woman who has suffered because she was not believed," she said. During the trial, E. Jean Carroll recounted how Trump sexually assaulted her in the 90s inside the dressing room of the Bergdorf Goodman department store, located a block from Trump Tower. During the trial, Trump's defense team did not call any witnesses, and Trump rejected his chance to testify during the trial. On Tuesday, Trump, who's running for president again, posted a number of messages and videos on his social media platform blasting the verdict.
We'll be appealing this decision. It's a disgrace. I don't even know who this woman is. I have no idea who she is, where she came from. This is another scam. It's a political witch hunt.
In a video deposition recently made public, Donald Trump claimed E. Jean Carroll was, quote, "not my type." But during questioning in the taped deposition, Trump mistook E. Jean Carroll for his ex-wife, Marla Maples.
You say Marla's in this photo?
That's Marla, yeah. That's my wife.
Which woman are you pointing to? No, that's
Here.
Carroll.
Oh, is that?
The person you just pointed to was E. Jean Carroll.
Who is that? Who is this?
Point, your wife. And the woman on the right is your then-wife,
I don't know.
Ivana?
This was the picture. I assume that's John Johnson. Is that
That's Carroll?
Because it's very blurry.
In a moment, we'll be joined by Jessica Leeds, who testified during the trial about how Trump sexually assaulted her during a flight in the 1970s. But we begin with Moira Donegan in San Francisco, an opinion columnist covering gender and politics for The Guardian, also a writer in residence at the Clayman Institute for Gender Research at Stanford University. Moira, thanks so much for joining us. Can you first respond to the verdict, to a unanimous jury finding Donald Trump liable for sexually assaulting and defaming E. Jean Carroll?
Well, thank you for having me, Amy. And I think something that to remember about this verdict is that it was unusually fast. That suggests that this wasn't very close. You know, usually in even a civil trial like this, a jury will be out in deliberations for much longer. They came back yesterday in just under 3 hours, which suggests that, you know, there wasn't a lot of doubt in the jurors' minds about who was telling the truth here. I think this is a really significant moment for American women and specifically for the Me Too movement. You know, Donald Trump was sort of the figure whose boorishness, his shamelessness, his, you know, long standing impunity for sexual assault really did inspire this rage at the, you know, ongoing and very pervasive sexual abuse of women, mostly by men. And his lack of accountability for many years had been a motivator and an insult. You know, it was insulting, I think, to the citizenship of American women to have somebody who had been so contemptuous of their dignity in a position of great power. So that a court of law has now held him accountable, held him liable, is, I think, a really significant moment.
Can you talk about the law that enabled E. Jean Carroll decades later to bring this lawsuit against Donald Trump here in New York City?
Yeah, so, you know, the law under which this lawsuit was filed is something called the New York Adult Survivors Act, which was a long time coming. It is a law that extended the statute of limitations, or created a 1 year, they call it a look-back window, that began on Thanksgiving, during which, you know, survivors of sexual abuse who have sort of gone past the statute of limitations, whose assaults occurred too long ago to file civil suits, have this opportunity over the course of a year to, you know, look back, to bring back their claims and to file civil, not criminal, but civil suits that would have otherwise been prohibited by the statute of limitations. E. Jean Carroll lobbied for this law, and her attorneys filed the lawsuit just within hours of it having gone into effect.
And so people can actually still file suits, right? That window is still open till, what is it, November?
Yes, there's 6 more months if there's any survivors in New York who have, assaults, who have claims that have happened beyond the statute of limitations. They still have that opportunity to file civil claims and to try and get some justice.
During the trial, the jury was shown the infamous Access Hollywood video, in which Trump brags about grabbing women's genitals without asking permission.
I gotta use some Tic Tacs just in case I start kissing her. I'm automatically attracted to beautiful. I just start kissing them. It's like a magnet. You just kiss. I don't even wait. And when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything.
Whatever you want.
Grab them by the pussy. You can do anything.
You can do anything, Trump said in that videotape. Well, during a videotape deposition seen by the jury, Trump defended his comments in the Access Hollywood tape.
Again, this has become very famous in this video. I just start kissing them. It's like a magnet. Just kiss. I don't even wait. And when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything. Grab them by the you can do anything. That's what you said, correct?
Well, historically, that's true with stars.
It's true with stars that they can grab women by the
Well, if you look over the last million years, I guess that's been largely true. Not always, but largely true. Unfortunately or fortunately.
And you consider yourself to be a star?
I think you can say that, yeah.
That was Donald Trump in the videotape deposition that was shown in court. And yet he refused to be there live to testify, which is extremely significant, Moira. If you can talk about this. I mean, he was golfing in Ireland at his golf course and said that he would be challenging E. Jean Carroll, whoever she is, and the judge in court. And when the judge took him up on the offer and said that this was, last Thursday, that he'd have until Sunday, even though his lawyer had rested the case, to say whether he would come into court, he didn't. The significance of this, Moira. So the only thing the jury saw were these damning clips from his deposition.
It's a really damning, it's a really remarkable exchange. That phrase, fortunately or unfortunately, really, I think, bolstered Carroll's claim that the Access Hollywood tape amounts to not, as Donald Trump had characterized it, mere, quote-unquote locker room talk, but really a confession, right? He's reaffirming not only his misogynist attitudes, but really a true lack of remorse and lack of moral objection to sexual assault. Donald Trump performed so badly in that deposition, and he incriminated himself further in this kind of remarkable way, as you noted. And I think that, it might not have been entirely unwise for him from a legal standpoint to avoid coming to the trial. I think, he would not probably have performed very well on cross. He doesn't have a lot of self-control. He's very indignant. He's very impulsive, and I don't think he would have helped his own case. That said, I think it did also make a impression on the jury. How much disregard for the proceedings, disinterest in mounting a real defense, sort of seemingly casual irreverence for the seriousness of what was being alleged in this civil court. I don't think that helped him either. I think, all that the jurors really heard was a ton of corroboration from E. Jean Carroll, a ton of, confessions and reaffirmations of his, character and habits from the long record of Donald Trump, and particularly that Access Hollywood tape, which was played many times in court. But they didn't really hear much of a defense from Trump's side. And that, I think, really made a big impression.